video, we're going to look at how to solve multi-step equations. The most important thing for us when we start looking at these is we've got to distribute first. Go ahead and distribute any term that you need to into the parentheses. Then we're going to combine our like terms. And then finally, we're going to simplify. We're going to get all of our variables on one side and everything else on the other, and we're going to solve. So I want to start off just by looking at this simple multi-step equation right here in the green. The very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute. Make sure that we distribute that number to each term within the parentheses. So I get 3 times 4, that gives me 12x. 3 times negative 1 gives me negative 3. And then we can continue on right through our problem. Combine my like terms, so that gives me 14x minus 3 equals 13. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, because I'm trying to get my variables on one side, all my numbers on the other. I can bring my 14x down. 13 plus 3 gives me 16. Go ahead and divide both sides by 14. So I want to get that variable by itself. That's going to give me x equals 16 over 14. And we can be good mathematicians here, and we're going to simplify that down so that I have 8 over 7. All right, so again, just real quick, make sure we distribute first, distribute to everything in the parentheses, combine my like terms, and then I'm going to simplify and solve. All right, so let's check out another problem here. So with this one, it's a little bit different. I've got to handle 2 different distributions. So I'm going to distribute the 5 into the parentheses. So that's going to give me 10x minus 15. And then here, I want to keep that negative with the 4. That's a negative 4, all right? So that whole negative 4 is going to distribute into the parentheses here. So that's going to give me negative 4x plus 8 equals negative 7. All right, so now let's continue on. I'm going to combine my like terms. So 10x minus 4x gives me 6x. Negative 15 plus 8 gives me negative 7. I'm going to add 7 to both sides because, again, I want to get all my variables on one side and everything else on the other. So I can bring my 6x down. That gives me negative 7 plus 7 gives me 0. Go ahead and divide by 6, and we get x equals 0. All right, pretty easy so far. Again, first thing I did was I distributed it in everything within the parentheses, then combined my like terms, simplified, and I solved. Just make sure that we keep that negative with the 4 as we distribute in. All right, last problem we'll look at. This is kind of where they get a little bit trickier. If I'm ever multiplying a fraction, distributing that fraction into the problem, but it's still going to hold the same. Now, depending on how you've learned this or depending on how some teachers teach it, I'm going to break it down into a step-by-step basis. If it looks like it's too much, try doing it mentally, but eventually you'll get to the point where you'll feel comfortable with this. So when I distribute 3/5 into a problem like this, my numerator will multiply the argument of the problem. So the 3 times 10x will be in my numerator over 5. Plus, then that 3/5 will multiply to the 10, so I'll have 3 times 10 over 5. And then I'm going to continue on with the rest of my problem. So minus 3x equals negative 8. Go ahead and start simplifying. 3 times 10x gives me 30x over 5. Plus 3 times 10 gives me 30 over 5. Minus 3x equals negative 8. Simplify these down. When I simplify 30x over 5, I'm going to get 6x. 30 divided by 5 gives me 6. Plus 6 minus 3x equals negative 18. All right. So combine my like terms here. I get 3x plus 6 equals negative 8. I'm going to subtract negative 8, I'm going to subtract negative 6 from both sides. And we are going to simplify that. Bring my 3x down. That gives me negative 14. Divide by 3. and I get x equals negative 14 thirds. All right, so again, just to recap that problem, we have 3/5, and that's distributing into 10x plus 10. And when I do that fraction, the numerator will multiply times my argument there, okay? Just simplify on down, get to the point where we're gonna solve. And actually, we got one more problem here, so we'll work this last one. This one's also unique. I noticed that I have variables on both sides. So that's gonna kind of change how I handle the problem later on. But again, my first step, what I do, I distribute down into the parentheses. So 4 will distribute to 3x over 2 and to the negative 4. So 4 times 3x, remember, that's gonna multiply to my numerator. 4 times negative 4 gives me negative 16 equals 2x minus 8. 4 times 3x gives me a 12x over 2 minus 16 equals 2x minus 8. Simplify that, 12x divided by 2 gives me a 6x minus 16 equals 2x minus 8. I'm going to add 16 to both sides. That's going to cancel. I'm left with 6x equals 2x plus 8. I'm going to take this up here. So I have 6x equals 2x plus 8. Now I want to get my variables on one side and all my numbers on the other. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. That gives me 4x equals 8. I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I get x equals 2. All right. So guys, this is multi-step equations. Again, first thing I'm going to look at doing is I'm going to distribute first. Once I've distributed to everything within the parentheses, I'm going to combine my like terms. And then after I combine my like terms, I'm going to simplify and solve. Get all my variables on one side, all my numbers on the other. I hope this video helps. Thanks for checking it out.